weekend is in full swing. It's a great day to be out on the lake and an even better day to be at the ballpark. It's Game 2 of this series between the Cleveland Indians and the Toronto Blue Jays. It's also non-waiver trade deadline day in Major League Baseball, and that's why Josh Tomlin gets the start bumped up a day because Jake Westbrook expected to be dealt at some point throughout the course of this game. Hello, everyone. Pinch hitting for Buck Martinez, Sam Cosentino alongside Rance Mullinax, and plenty of names have been bandied about. We saw a trade completed by Cleveland last night with Austin Kearns going to New York. Plenty of Blue Jays names out there, but one guy whose stock has significantly risen is Jose Bautista, especially with his play over the last 5 games.
Well, Jose Bautista, the numbers speak for themselves, but he's meant a whole lot more to the ball club than just the numbers. It's his character. Character can be defined in many ways. It's trustworthy, accountable, and naturally garners respect. And that is what Jose Bautista has brought to this ball club. An example, Yunel Escobar, since coming over from the Atlanta Braves in the trade, he has really looked to Jose Bautista to provide leadership. Jose Bautista has done that. He's become a leader to Escobar and to this Jays ball club.
One of his good friends and teammates is Edwin Encarnacion, who since coming back from Las Vegas has been outstanding on the defensive side of the ball. Just 1 error going into last night's game. He was charged with 2 errors, including a throwing error late in the game, but both were reversed, but something he's still working on.
He's working very hard at it. That's one of the reasons why he's improved so much defensively at third base. This morning, out early with Brian Butterfield, third base coach for the Jays, again working on his footwork. He has a tendency to get a little flat-footed, get a little long with his stride, has to work on keeping that short and quick. When he does, he's very accurate with his throwing, which at times gives him a little bit of problems. But maybe more important than all of that is when he got to the ballpark this morning, Edwin Encarnacion went and got Brian Butterfield and said, let's go to work.
And he did a lot of that in Las Vegas, which is why he was quickly promoted back to the Toronto Blue Jays. Although his name hasn't been bandied about in trade rumors, several have been, including John Buck, Lyle Overbay, Scott Downs, and even, yes, Jose Bautista. Will they be Blue Jays tomorrow? Only time will tell.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Brett Cecil gets the ball today for the Toronto Blue Jays, and over his last 4 games, he has been outstanding, including an 18 consecutive scoreless inning streak, which was snapped in his last start. But the numbers fantastic over those last 4 starts. Why do you think so?
Well, it all begins with command, and he's had very good control over his last 4 starts, and everything's been working. Very good curveball. His fastball's had good life to it. You see there, tremendous velocity. Very good changeup with some very good late movement. And he's pitched to both sides of the plate, up and down the strike zone. And when you're able to do that with the type of stuff that Brett Cecil possesses, you're going to have a lot of success.
Has added a changeup since the start of this year, all by accident, but that has become a great weapon for him. 8-5 on the year with that ERA below 4, making his 18th start of the year.
106 innings of work, 93 hits, 74 strikeouts.
And Brett Cecil will go up against the Cleveland Indians today. Here's Manny Acta's lineup. The road has not been kind to the Tribe, and they continue to tweak their roster with that trade of Jake Westbrook. Just about complete and official. 42 and 61 on the year. Crow, Cabrera, and Chu's been outstanding in his last 10 games. Santana, the exciting young prospect, will hit cleanup, followed by Laporta, Duncan, and Nix, who plays third. Donald and Jimenez gets the start behind the plate, giving Santana half a day off at the DH spot.
Aaron Hill, although he's had his struggles at the plate this year, defensively he has been outstanding. 2 sparkling plays in last night's ball game, robbing Chu of a couple of base hits.
So we're set to get underway on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at the Rogers Center. Sam Cosentino and Rance Mullinex with you on this beautiful day. Crow starts it off, and Cecil bounces his first pitch. Crow, a switch hitter whose splits favor him hitting from the left side, hitting just 197 against left-handed pitching this year. Cecil deals and misses up and away. Cecil has really become a stalwart in this Jays rotation and has fit in quite nicely with Markham, with Ricky Romero, and really has solidified the top 3 spots. And you add Brandon Morrow into that mix, and the future looking awfully bright for this Blue Jays starting staff.
Well, you talk about Brandon Morrow, probably just raw stuff-wise, has the best stuff on the staff. And if he can be more consistent and really harness up that control, he could definitely be a #1 starter.
3-1 pitch hit on the ground hard. Escobar takes it on a hop and delivers it to first for the first out of the game.
Well, Sam, you were talking about the starting staff of the Jays, one of the youngest in Major League Baseball, average age of just over 25 years. So a good foundation for the future.
And Rance, what's so impressed me about this staff is the fact that as inexperienced and as youthful as they are, they've taken the ball just about every 5 days with the occasional spot start here and there. But for the most part, these guys have made all their starts. First pitch swinging by Asdrubal Cabrera. Jose Bautista to the line. 2 down.
Well, the scouting report on Brett Cecil, he has 2 types of fastball. He has a 2-seam fastball that he will sink. He will also throw a 4-seamer, which will touch 92, 93. He has a slider with good tilt, very good curveball, and an outstanding change. Key for him is to repeat that delivery and be consistent.
With 2 down in the inning, Cecil faces Shin-Soo Choo. And Choo has had a nice run since coming back off the DL. First pitch swinging and fouls it off. And on the DL with a right thumb sprain. But since returning to the lineup on the 23rd of July, he's hitting .367. 5 doubles. 3 runs batted in those 8 games. Cecil's 0-1 misses low and away. Manny Acta finally getting his wish with Asdrubal Cabrera coming off the DL. Chu had earlier in the season been hitting in the 2-hole, but now back where he's probably most productive in that 3 spot.
Boy, Chu, a 5-tool type player. He has power, hits for average, can run, throw, play defense.
And what's not to like about a guy wearing the old double flap cap? Good pitch there by Cecil, and Chu is caught looking. So the Tribe is retired in order. The Blue Jays come to bat for the first time next.
Welcome to the ballpark.
Yankees by 11.5 games in the American League East, and the lineup just a couple of changes at the bottom as you look at Lewis, Escobar, and Bautista. That 8-game mid streak, he has been simply on fire. The bottom of the lineup, Encarnacion moves up to the 8th spot, with Jose Molina getting the catching duties, and John Buck goes back to the bench. As we're set to start it off, Josh Tomlin facing Fred Lewis.
Josh Tomlin making just his second start in the major leagues. His first against the Yankees. He beat the Yankees in CC Sabathia. Went 7 innings, just 3 hits, 1 run allowed in his major league debut.
So we'll see if the youngster gets rattled at all by the fact that he was moved up to just 3 days rest here. It was supposed to be tomorrow's starter, and you look at the numbers, just 1 game in his major league career. What impressed me so much about that game against the Yankees on Tuesday night is he didn't walk a Yankees batter. And you know how hard that is against that lineup.
That's a lineup that's very patient and will make you throw strikes. So they have 0 walks through 7 innings. He was sharp.
Tomlin deals, and it's a 1 hopper to short, where Cabrera throws out Lewis to start the game for Cleveland.
Number 5, Escobar.
So Josh Tomlin now faces Yunel Escobar. Tomlin, 25 years of age, was originally selected by the San Diego Padres in the 11th round of the 05 draft. That was while he was in junior college. He did not sign. Transferred over to Texas Tech, and a year later, the Indians took him in the 19th round of the draft. And here he is in 2010, making his second big league appearance against the Toronto Blue Jays. See Escobar's numbers combined over the course of the year. Been a fantastic and dynamic player to watch, who plays with a ton of energy and seems to really enjoy himself out there. 2-1 pitch. Misses narrowly, and Escobar in a good hitter's count.
Just watching Tomlin here in the first inning. He's good delivery, very compact and fluid. Looks like he's able to repeat it with consistency.
Escobar thought he'd work the walk, but Tomlin paints the outside corner. Gary Cederstrom calling the balls and strikes today. Payoff pitch from Tomlin. Hit high in the air to center field. Trevor Crowe gets a read on it before taking a few steps in. And there's 2 down.
Yeah, Josh Tomlin has a fastball that will touch 91. He will cut that fastball, especially in on the hands of the left-handers. An occasional curveball, a pretty good change. Going on 3 days rest, so that could be possibly a concern for the Indians.
Especially with a young starter, but their bullpen has been beat up of late. And so really not a whole lot of options down there. And when you look at the roster, Rance, this is a 9-man bullpen with Kerry Wood coming off the DL to take the roster spot of Austin Kearns, who was dealt yesterday to the Yankees. A 9-man bullpen. I can't remember seeing that.
Well, at least they have a lot of options down in the bullpen this afternoon anyway.
And back to Bautista. Hit high in the air once again to center field, and Crowe was there. The side is retired in order by Tomlin, including a couple of flyouts to center field. No score after 1 here in Toronto. And now the Cleveland Indians have felt that they could make some head ground after the break, and that has been the case. The second best record in the American League since the All-Star break, right behind the Minnesota Twins, who have played 1 more game.
You factor in they could have easily won another game in Kansas City and in Detroit. They had a ball game get away from them late in that Detroit series.
Santana on the ground. Escobar, good backhanded play and another solid throw.
First baseman number 7, Matt LaPorta.
Brett Cecil looking oh so confident on the mound right from the get-go. Was in an unfortunate situation out of spring training where he did not make the club, but it wasn't long thereafter when he was recalled, and he has been dynamite ever since.
Well, you've seen him more than I have, Sam, but any time that I've ever seen Brett Cecil on the mound, he always appears to be calm and in control of his emotions. Never seems to panic, and always appears to be confident in his ability.
And that was not the case last year. He got into a couple of starts, Boston and Philadelphia in particular, where he just couldn't stem the tide. And one of the biggest things a young pitcher needs to learn is being able to limit damage, and that's something that Cecil has really improved at this year. Overall, a nice 4-1 record with a 2.45 ERA against the American League Central in his career.
Well, oftentimes for a pitcher, what defines success is your ability when you get into a difficult situation to minimize the damage.
Porta fouls it off.
Don't let the ball game get away from you. An example last night, we saw that last night with Masterson in the 4th inning. Done a pretty good job to that point, but then made a mistake to Bautista, the grand slam, and then you put yourself in and your team in a very difficult situation.
2-2 pitch to Laporta, and that misses. That fourth inning yesterday, the Blue Jays scored 6 runs on 7 hits and pretty much spelled the demise of Masterson in that game, including the Jose Bautista grand slam. Laporta continues to fight Cecil off. Laporta was the benefactor of some good news when we were last in Cleveland just before that series. The Indians traded Russell Branyan back to Seattle, and at that point Laporta was given the everyday job at first base. Pitch low and in, and Laporta draws a 1-out walk.
Well, defensively this afternoon for the Jays, in the outfield it will be Lewis, Wells, and Bautista. Around the infield, Encarnacion, Escobar, Hill, Overbay, and Molina will do the catching this afternoon. Following a night game, Brett Cecil the pitching, and Aaron Hill been outstanding defensively for the Jays, and last night, boy, he really sparkled. Took a couple of hits away from Chu, one to his left and one to his right.
First pitch fouled off by Duncan, and here's a sampling of Aaron Hill's fine work.
Well, the first inning last night, ranging great angle for this ball, able to come up and make the play and throw Chu out. There is a much better look at that angle that he took. And then a hard smash to his right. He dives, knocks it down, is able to recover, quick snap throw, and gets Chu again.
Pitch swung on and hit hard by Shelley Duncan. It's on a hop to Fred Lewis. So Laporta advances to second, and Cleveland has 2 on with 1 out here in the top of the 2nd inning.
Good baseman, number 12, Jason Nicks.
Sean Markham outstanding in that game last night. Perfect through 4 innings, and then in the top of the 5th, Carlos Santana hits a ball to the right side. Hill makes an adjustment, ends up losing his shoe on the play. So surely they're knotted up a little tighter here this afternoon. Santana would come around to score the lone run in that game for Cleveland as the Blue Jays went on to win at 8-1. Extending their win streak to 4 games, the first time since May that that's happened. Jason Nicks with a 1-0 count. He's got Laporta at second, Shelley Duncan at first. Molina keeps it in front. Nicks has shown some pop this year with 7 home runs. Things have worked out quite nicely for Nicks, who started the year with the White Sox. Was designated for assignment and picked up by Cleveland, debuting on the 24th of June. Hit right back up the middle. Cecil to Escobar at short, steps across the bag and completes the double play. How about Yunel Escobar making an extremely tough play look oh so easy?
Well, it looked as if there might have been a little mix-up between Escobar and Hill as to who had the bag, but nonetheless, great play by Escobar to complete the double play.
Hit it into 5-5-5-5. Later on in the game, we'll put the best picture.
up between Hill and Escobar as to who's covering the bag. I think that led to a little bit of a high throw by Cecil, because at the last moment it's like, who do I lead? But a nice adjustment by Escobar, using his athleticism to reach up, step on the bag, catch the ball, and complete the double play. Great athleticism, great play by Escobar.
Well, the 1-6-4 gets the Blue Jays out of the top of the second as Vernon Wells leads it off for Toronto. And a modest 4-game hit streak. Has hit over 300 since the All-Star break, but just 1 home run. And so the power for Wells has gone somewhat dormant since the break and a little bit before that. Tomlin threw 14 pitches in that first inning, and pitch count will be something we'll keep an eye on in this game, since he's just working on 3 days rest.
Well, it is rather interesting, with as much as teams go out of their way now to, protect the starting pitchers. The pitch count, of course, is very important. And all of a sudden you have a young guy and he's going on 3 days rest.
Sorry about your luck. If you didn't join us at the top of the broadcast, Jake Westbrook was supposed to make the start here in today's game, but a supposed 3-team deal, including the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres, is in the works. They're putting the final touches on that deal as Wells gets caught looking for the first out of the inning. Rance, you talked about at the start of the game about Jose Bautista not being just a great player numbers-wise, but he gives you this sort of stuff too.
Hey, we don't know what he's talking about there, but this is leadership, where a guy comes in and he maybe notices something, he goes to the young player and discusses it with him, maybe just reminding him about something that he needs to be aware of. That's what a leader does.
One out for Adam Lind, and Bautista in his career has played some second base, so he's very familiar with the inner workings of the middle infield, and we saw a bit of a cross-up on that 1-6-4 inning-ending double play, so surely some talk about that between the two.
Tomlin, in his first start against the Yankees, threw 93 pitches, so it wasn't a game where he had to go 110 or 115. I think if he'd had to throw that many in his first start, he wouldn't be on the mound here this afternoon.
It might be a guy like Jensen Lewis, who was recalled yesterday from AAA Columbus. Pitch down, and Lynn chases after it. The count is 2-2. Lynn, the only starter in the game yesterday not to get a hit for the Blue Jays. He was 0 for 5. Fights off this Tomlin pitch.
Well, Adam Lind this year has just not been consistent with his approach. He's had have a couple of good at-bats where he really lets the ball travel. He stays behind the ball very well, and then at times he's pulling and flying open.
There have been some glimpses of both the good and the bad, and there Lynn chases high, and Tomlin has struck out the first 2 hitters of the inning.
Now, this is clearly just a fastball up and in out of the strike zone, and he chased it. He's done that a number of times this year, but overall it appears that the main problem has been he's just pulled too much, front shoulder flying open.
Now to Aaron Hill, who takes a mighty hack at the first pitch he sees. His numbers have improved since the break, so a well-needed break for Hill, getting a chance to go home and not think about baseball at all. Has come back and hit 269 since that time. "14 home runs on the season for the Jays' second baseman. Tomlin well ahead 0-2, and just like that, Hill goes down swinging. Tomlin strikes out the side. He gets Wells, Lind, and Hill in order. No score through 2.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Top of the third inning here at the Rogers Center. No score between the Toronto Blue Jays and Cleveland Indians. And Miles Brandt joins us here in the broadcast booth. Great to have you up here. I know you're in the midst of enjoying a Blue Jays extravaganza weekend. Tell us a little bit about why you're here.
I'm here. I got to choose this for my wish from Make-A-Wish. This is my second wish, and what can I say? They actually granted it. It's amazing what they've actually given me.
The Children's Wish Foundation providing a Blue Jays extravaganza weekend for Miles. Your mom and dad here with you as well. Take us back to yesterday. You were wanting to meet your favorite Blue Jays player in Aaron Hill. How did that go?
It was amazing. He's a great guy, just like every single rest, just like everybody. They're just all amazing.
Now, I read somewhere where you are a big hip hop fan. Is that right?
Yeah, I am.
And who's your favorite artist and why?
I'm gonna say Eminem, just because I don't know. I usually listen to him before I get warm up before games. Just that's really why I guess.
Get you psyched up. Get
Yeah,
you ready
it
to go.
does. Yeah.
So Donald draws a leadoff walk here in the top of the third. Let's go back to a couple of years ago, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's 17 years old now. It's gone into remission. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm just hoping I get to go back to baseball next year and everything else.
You're a huge Jays fan. We're going to put you on the spot here a little bit. This is the non-waiver trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. There's been plenty of Blue Jays names talked about. Yep. I'm sure you're well aware. How about Jose Bautista? Would you trade him?
I don't know. He's kind of where everybody's relying on, but you don't really have to rely on him. Everybody's amazing on the team. I would keep the club, just switch divisions for the Jays. It's kind of a hard division.
That's a good call. I don't know if we can do that at the non-waiver trade deadline, but we'll throw it out there for sure.
Now, you said this was your second wish,
Second
right?
wish,
What
yeah.
was number one?
I just had a shopping spree in London, Ontario. I just basically chose that because I'm an only child, not a wealthy family, so kind of one of the things I wish I had, I got.
So awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're on a pretty good roll here.
Yeah.
Kind of like the ball club.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff did you get on your shopping spree?
Just clothes, just basically everything a teenage boy wants. Clothes, video games, some stuff for my family. That's about it.
Cecil works the 0-2. Swung on and missed. As Jimenez goes down.
Oh, now what about a girlfriend?
No, I haven't got one yet. Haven't gotten lucky.
Okay. You and I'd be good cousins.
Yeah.
So Aaron Hill, you met him yesterday. Tell us about the rest of your day. Did you get to meet any of the other Blue Jays?
I met almost all the Blue Jays. I spent most of my time with John McDonald and Snyder. We had a really good day. Spent a lot of time in the dressing room. It's really nice down there.
Oh, yeah, they've done a great job. Renovated recently. The Blue Jays clubhouse, one of the best in all of baseball.
Yeah.
One down for Trevor Crowe. Back to the top of the order here.
Well, typically, if you're granted one wish, you're granted three. So if you had a third, what would it be?
Probably meet Aaron Hill again, or just all the Jays, in fact. They're all just amazing guys. I would love to hang out with them again. It was probably the best day of my life right there.
So what kind of stuff would you talk about with those guys? Would you talk hitting? You just talk about life in general? What are the...
Everything. I was talking to Aaron about everything. I don't know. It's just... I love the Jays. Not really much to say. I just love them. They're all amazing guys. I don't think they're the best team in baseball. They just treat this because they love the game.
When does your fanship go back to? How old were you when you first started following Toronto?
I'm not sure. My grandpa got me into watching baseball when I was younger.
You get a chance to watch any of the baseball in the London area at all?
Not really, because I'm mostly playing baseball and soccer, so mostly into that.
What is your favorite position to play as it relates? Pitcher, you like to pitch?
I'm a pitcher, yeah.
2-1 pitch to Crowe.
Well, give us a quick scouting report. What do you feature when you're on the bump?
I usually stick with the fastball, changeup, curveball. Mix it around a little bit.
Which one would you say is your best pitch?
I'm going to say my curveball, strike three. It's my favorite pitch.
So
even though they tell me not to throw it a lot because I'm a kid, it's still my favorite.
So if you had Aaron Hill down 0-2, you'd go to the curveball.
Yeah, I go to the curveball. Always.
Popped up to the left side. Fred Lewis in. And there are 2 down in the inning. So retreating back to first is Jason Donald. And that will bring up Asdrubal Cabrera for the second time in this game. We're joined by Miles Brandt, who's here on a Blue Jays extravaganza weekend, courtesy of the Children's Wish Foundation, an unbelievable charity. And what's the rest of your weekend look like?
Tomorrow, well, today just watch the game. Tonight probably visit CN Tower. Tomorrow I throw the first pitch, so pretty excited about that.
You throw the curveball?
I don't know. I'm not trusting it.
Well, if you do, make sure you don't cross up the catcher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe you need to communicate a little bit before you go out there. Let him know what you're gonna. Let him know what you want to throw.
Yep.
So you follow baseball aside from the Blue Jays. Who else? What other teams do you enjoy following?
Even though I don't like them, I like the Yankees and Red Sox just because it's an interesting. They're both interesting ball clubs. They're just all great players, which I love. So I just love to see everybody doing their best, having good seasons.
You didn't say that to the Blue Jays guys, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't. No.
Well, hopefully they're not in the clubhouse watching.
He'd like to come back.
Yeah.
So, now you mentioned you like soccer. What's your favorite position? Who would your favorite soccer player be?
I was a center midfield because I had lots of stamina and I could run upfield. And my favorite player would be Ronaldinho.
1-2 pitch from Cecil. In the dirt, it gets by Molina, and Donald will advance. Molina still can't find it. Now pulls off the mask. And advancing the second is Donald.
Just the ball down, and it looked like Molina did everything correctly. He just didn't quite keep the gate down, and the ball kicks off the webbing of the glove, and then he has a little trouble finding it. I don't think that affected the outcome. I believe the runner is going to be able to move up and into scoring position.
So it's called a wild pitch. 2-2 count. Low and in. Miles Brandt with us here in the Children's Wish Foundation. Where you sat in the good seats last night. You saw that. Amazing. Those are the Cadillacs. Where are you sitting today?
I'm sitting third baseline up a little bit. Last night, got a foul ball right to me. Wasn't paying attention because the seats were too comfy.
I saw that right over your head.
I kind of skimmed my arm.
Oh, it got a piece. Get on the ground. Encarnacion, feet on the move, makes a good solid throw. Well, we're so happy to have you here, Miles Brandt, Children's Wish Foundation, doing a great job. Glad to see you're well. Continued success in your recovery.
Thank you.
Jays games, plenty of Major League Baseball aside from the Jays, Raptors, so much more. Rogers Sportsnet 1 coming your way August 14th, and that night we will open up the channel with the Jays against the Angels in Anaheim. So exciting news around the network. Bottom of the third inning at the Rogers Center. Sam Cosentino and Rance Mullinex with you on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Lyle Overbay leads things off in this scoreless affair. It's non-waiver trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. We've already seen one deal. It hasn't not become official yet, but it shouldn't be too long before it gets finalized. Today's Indian starter Jake Westbrook moving in a 3-team deal with St. Louis and San Diego. Cleveland expected to get prospects back in return. Last night, Austin Kearns dealt as he was pulled out of the game in the 7th inning. And it was learned at that time that he was dealt to the New York Yankees. Johnny Peralta a couple of days ago going to Detroit, a big debut last night with 2 home runs. And so this is an Indians team that was already the youngest in the major leagues and continues to get younger as Overbay draws the leadoff walk.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
Edwin Encarnacion steps in for the first time today. As is usually the case when Cito Gaston makes a change with his catchers, Encarnacion will bump up into that 8th spot in the lineup. And that's when Molina goes in, which here day game after a night game, that is the case presented today.
You know, Johnny Peralta not known for his power, and lo and behold hits 2 home runs last night.
He had 100 career home runs exactly with the Indians, and before he left hit an inside the park shot to make it an even 100 before he was dealt to Detroit. We're getting official word now that that trade has been completed as Encarnacion drives the ball where Shelley Duncan has to jump and make a catch. A little scary for Duncan as that ball was hit on the line.
Well, a hanging curveball and was hit very, very hard. And Duncan initially kind of took a false step in, but was able to recover, stretch out, time his leap perfectly, and make the catch.
So 9-hole hitter Jose Molina comes in, hitting .276 with 3 home runs and 8 driven in. He's got Overbay on at first. Tomlin deals. That trade with Jake Westbrook completed. He moves to the St. Louis Cardinals, a 3-way deal. Right-handed pitcher Corey Kluber comes from the San Diego Padres to Cleveland. Kluber is 24 years old, spent the season at AA San Antonio where he is 6-6 with a 3.45 ERA. And as a result of that move, Kluber will remain in the minor leagues. Jordan Brown, an outfielder called up from AAA Columbus to take the place of Westbrook. He will arrive at some point today. Brown hitting .309 in AAA with 25 doubles, 6 home runs, 63 driven in. And .309 average 3rd in the International League, so looking to maybe get a bit of an offensive boost with the addition of Jordan Brown. We're liable to see a lot of that, as this game is the only one in Major League Baseball that is happening prior to the trade deadline. Everything else 4 o'clock or later. Eastern time, that is. No score in the bottom of the third. Overbay's at first for Molina. 2-1 count. Molina drives it into left field. Good line shot. Runners at first and second.
Well, and back-to-back balls hit very hard off of Tomlin. Dingy breaking ball to Encarnacion. This looks like another breaking ball that stays up and in the middle just a little bit, and Molina drives it hard into left field, and the Jays have something going.
Jimenez, the catcher, out in front of the plate, giving the defensive signs to the rest of the Indians as Fred Lewis steps in. Grounded out to short to lead off the game for the Blue Jays. It has been some kind of season for Fred Lewis. Originally acquired to provide some outfield depth with big league experience in his pocket. Comes over from San Francisco for, well, basically $75,000, and he has made the most of his time here with the Blue Jays. One-0 to Lewis, misses low and away.
And he's seeing the ball pretty good. Nice job there out at the 1-0. Kind of a fastball count to lay off something off speed, just out of the strike zone. Sometimes you get 1-0, you get a little bit amped up thinking you're going to get a fastball, and you chase a pitch like that last one, get yourself out.
Let's see if he'll be amped up 2-0. Similar pitch that gets the outside corner.
But that's okay, because in a 2-0 count, you can definitely be more selective and get a better pitch than that last one to hit. So in a sense, that was a good take on the part of Fred Lewis.
Tomlin set to deal his 44th pitch of the game. Hit on the ground to Lewis. Laporta can't handle it, bobbles it, and now over to first, but not in time. So Tomlin gets over to cover, and Laporta bobbles the ball. Lewis is aboard. The bases are loaded.
Well, the ball was hit sharp, and it looked like the last hop really came up on Laporta, and he had a little trouble finding the handle. Here we get a look how he tries to make the adjustment. The ball comes up, hits him in the heel of the glove. Still had time, but the throw just pulls off Tomlin, pulls him off the bag. He had to stretch to catch the throw. That took him off the bag. And give Fred Lewis a lot of credit. Great hustle to make this even close at first base. It's so easy when you hit the ball at first base, concede the fact that you're going to be out and you don't hustle. But nice hustle play by Fred Lewis.
All the Blue Jays promotions feature hustle and heart. And Fred Lewis giving you a little both there as the bases are loaded for Yunel Escobar. Escobar is one of the 2 Blue Jays grand slams this year. First pitch misses in. Back on the 18th of July in the second inning against the Baltimore Orioles, Escobar went deep with 3 aboard.
Nice job by Jimenez on a hard breaking ball in the dirt to keep it out in front of him. Excellent technique, sliding to his right.
And the home run leader on deck. Jose Bautista waits the at-bat with Escobar at the dish. One down.
Which means right here 2-0 now if you're Tomlin. You might have to give in a little bit.
Escobar pops it up to the right side. Laporta fighting the sun. And the infield fly rule is called, and Escobar is retired.
Right fielder, number 19,
And the wild screams you hear in the background are for the home run leader, Jose Bautista. It is 31st a night ago, a grand slam in the 4th inning. His 3rd career grand slam, hitting just 191 in his career with the bases loaded. But things have changed this year. Bautista has 11 home runs here in the month of July. One and a huge cut there from Bautista.
Well, he got a pretty good fastball to hit, and it looked like he might have tried to get a little too much. The swing looked like it got just a little bit long. Wasn't that good short quick swing that we've seen from Bautista, but now in a tough situation, 0-2. But at times this year, Bautista's been pretty good about cutting down on his swing and just trying to hit the ball back up the middle to his opposite field.
Opposite field, and something he was looking for there. We'll take you back to last night in that 4th inning.
Got himself a hard sinker down and in, and he just went down and got it. Drove it about 420 feet.
Plenty of congratulations in the Blue Jays dugout after that one. 31st of the year for Bautista, and here he is down 0-2 with the bases loaded. Tomlin deals, and again Bautista fights it off. So much talk about Bautista and whether or not the Blue Jays would consider dealing him. But the one thing that hasn't been considered, you still have to replace him at some point.
And what would it cost to replace him in a free agent market with the numbers that he has put up in his athleticism?
0-2 on its way again. Bautista checks his swing. Always a little easier to get that call, and when you've had the type of season that Bautista has had, the umpires start to respect you a little more. Tomlin deals, hit on the ground right back at the Indians pitcher. A quick flip to Laporta at first, and the Blue Jays will leave the bases loaded. With 3 complete, no score between Toronto and Cleveland. The Indians, all you can eat Lester's hot dogs, popcorn, nachos, peanuts, and soft drinks. Tickets starting at $39. 416-341-1234 or visit BlueJays.com for tickets in the Lester's all you can eat section. Top of the 4th inning, no score between the Blue Jays and the Indians. Sam Cosentino with Rance Mullinex on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in this long weekend. Glad to have you wherever you may be watching across the country. Shin-Soo Choo looks at ball 1 from Brett Cecil. Cecil has allowed just 1 hit. And Choo comes out swinging. 1-1 pitch is a little up, and Cecil at times has fought control here in the early going of this game, but helped himself in that second inning. With 2 aboard, gets the 1-6-4 double play, and this one past Aaron Hill and into right field, so Shin-Soo Choo has a leadoff single here in the 4th.
And he's probably thinking, I was finally able to get one past Hill at second base. Aaron Hill robbed him twice last night with a couple of great plays.
And so you'll see that nod by Hill looking over towards Escobar to let each other know who will have the bag on a comebacker to the mound. So a situation that they surely have straightened out after some miscommunication on that inning-ending double play in the second.
When a pitcher sees both shortstop and second baseman running to cover the bag, then he's not sure who he's supposed to throw to. And that in turn can lead to a bad throw, and which such was almost the case. Throw was high, but Escobar was able to make the adjustment.
Molina out to visit Cecil, and that's one of the things we've seen from both veteran catchers on this Blue Jays staff, that anytime they see something either mechanically gone awry or a situation where that pitcher needs a breather, they're not afraid to go out there and slow things down and get things back to normal.
Well, it seems as if Molina was telling Cecil, look, you're being a little too fine. Let's get back to being aggressive and attacking the strike zone, because Cecil has appeared at times this afternoon to try to make every pitch perfect and not trust his stuff and be aggressive and jump ahead in the count.
And at times throughout the course of this year, he's been guilty of backing off from that fastball. And we saw it in that July 2nd start against the Yankees, bases loaded, able to get Alex Rodriguez and then Cano with strikeouts, basically throwing them all fastballs. And from there, he learned a valuable lesson that, hey, in times of need, I can still go to that pitch.
Well, the fastball has always been called the best pitch in baseball. And of course, the fastball sets everything else up. And if you can't establish it, then.
Chu on his way. Santana swings and fouls it off, so Chu will have to retreat. This is an Indians offense that in the last 9 games has hit just .234. They have been outscored 48-19.
And look at with the runners in scoring position, 5 for 61.
A dramatically altered lineup from what we saw at the start of the year. Chu takes his lead. He's not going anywhere this time. Santana, a chop-like swing, fouls it back behind the plate.
And that's not to say that you don't want to have respect for your opponent and for the Indians lineup, because they're most certainly capable of beating you. But you want to remind yourself again that it's a team that's struggling, so I don't want to beat myself. I don't want to pitch myself into trouble. Let me be aggressive and attack these hitters and force them to beat me.
Flick throw to check Chu at first, and back in safely is the Indians right fielder. When you look at this Indians team at the start of the year, Mark Grudzielanek, Brady Sizemore, Austin Kearns, hit to the left side, 2 hops to Fred Lewis, and once again here for consecutive innings, there are runners at first and second for Cleveland. But you talk about Sizemore and Grudzielanek, Kearns, Johnny Peralta, and you know, in times of doubt or struggles, you lean on those veterans to pull you out of these times. But this is a dramatically looking different lineup here on the 31st of July.
You mentioned Mark Grudzielanek. And he's not a name that maybe a lot of people would recognize, but he's had himself quite a career.
Former Expo.
Played with a number of different teams, the Dodgers, the Expos, the Cardinals, the Royals.
First baseman Matt Laporta fouls it away. This trade we heard about last night with Lance Berkman going to the Yankees is now official. Houston gets Mark Melanson and Jimmy Paradis Melanson, a right-handed pitcher. Parady's an infielder. And with that move, Brett Wallace in the lineup at first base for Houston tonight. So a former Blue Jay prospect will play first for Houston. Half-hearted swing by Laporta, and he's down 1-2. So plenty of Blue Jays fans surely will have at least one eye on that Houston game tonight to see how Wallace fares in his major league debut. One, two, and again Laporta gets a piece.
And it's interesting with it. If you look at the Yankees, you'd think that they would really be looking to add another arm to that staff. You know, they've especially had some bullpen problems trying to get to their closer, Rivera. You wouldn't think, well, they need another bat. I mean, they have a pretty potent offense as it is.
Where are they going to fit all these bats? Cecil deals again, up and in, and tries to back Laporta off the plate.
It's a good pitch, though. 1-2. Run it up and in. If it's not perfect, you miss out of the strike zone. That really sets this next pitch up, opens up that outer third. He can go back away if he chooses to, especially maybe with something soft. That changeup has been pretty good this afternoon.
He's giving Cecil all he can handle here.
And Brett Cecil got away with a mistake with the last pitch, trying to go in with the fastball and left it out over the plate. And Laporta with a pretty good hack, fouling it straight back.
You're in this situation as a pitcher, Rance. Are you thinking about double play or simply getting the guy at the plate?
Well, you'd like to pitch to contact, take the sting out of the bat, get the double play. The old 2-for-1 sale. With one pitch, you get 2 outs.
Great at bat here by Matt Laporta. Seven pitches, 4 foul balls in this at bat against Brett Cecil. Shin-Soo Choo started the inning off with a base hit to right field. Carlos Santana followed that up with a line drive to left. And the pitch to Laporta. Again, fouled out of play.
And if you're Brett Cecil, you also have to be concerned a little bit about Choo at second base. He's not a big base stealer. He's stolen 13 coming into this afternoon's ball game. But you don't want to forget about him at second base.
Laporta pops it up again. Encarnacion and Molina will both give it a look, but it's well out of play. And this lengthy at bat continues. 9 pitches, 5 foul balls, and Laporta will not give an inch.
And it's tough on the pitcher because you make a pitch to finish the hitter off and he fights it off, and now you've got to make another quality pitch, and sometimes that will eventually lead to a mistake.
Cecil steps off, and they'll redo the signs here with Molina. Laporta, one of the key pieces when CC Sabathia was dealt to Milwaukee a couple of years ago. Cecil checks the runner, now deals, and Laporta hits it hard, but again foul. How much confidence do you get in one of these at-bats where you know that seemingly nothing can get by you?
Well, after you've fought off several pitches, it's clear you get very confident in the fact that you're seeing the ball very well and you're comfortable. And it's just a question of being able to take advantage of a mistake.
And getting it between the lines, hit on the line to Escobar, and he goes to his knees.
But a good pitch by Brett Cecil, a slow curveball, which he really hadn't shown in this at bat to Laporta, had him a little out in front, and hits him off the end of the bat and takes the sting out of it.
And on the 10th pitch of the at-bat, Laporta is finally retired. Not only did it take 10 pitches, but 5 minutes. But still, 2 remain aboard for Shelley Duncan. First pitch is high from Cecil. Just seems to be fighting the control a little bit. Do you notice anything?
Well, I mentioned it. The key for him is to repeat his delivery. And today he's had trouble with that. At least that's the way it appears from up here. He hasn't been consistent with that release point, and the result is he has struggled with control.
64 pitches as Cito Gaston and Bruce Walton look on. .3-0 to Duncan. And I think these are the type of outings where you don't have your best stuff or you don't have your delivery to perfection that really help pitchers make strides. That if you can get out of these particular innings, limit damage, and fight through to get yourself in a position to win the game, these outings pay dividends later on.
Well, it's definitely a situation where you can learn. You have to figure out a way to dig deep and make a quality pitch to get yourself out of trouble or minimize damage.
Cecil, quick look to Chu, who remains on at second base, and the pitch to Duncan is inside, and now the bases are loaded. Bruce Walton seeing some of the same things you're seeing, Rance, and he and Molina will both pay a visit to Cecil at the mound here with 1 out in the top of the 4th.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
Conversation continues between Molina and Cecil. No shortage of visits for Molina in this game, doing his best to try and keep Brett Cecil on track. The bases are loaded for Jason Nix. Just 3 for 15 in that situation in his career. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off. Coming into this game, Cecil had held right-handed hitters to a .262 average. He works and the pitch is in.
Now that was the pitch. It looked like he threw 3-1 to Duncan. That appeared to be a pretty good pitch, and it was ball 4. That last one there to Nix, tell by the reaction of Brett Cecil a little bit, he thinks that's a pretty good pitch and ought to be a strike, but he's not getting that call.
Good hack by Nix.
Boy, and that's when, as a hitter, it's so disappointing. You get a pitch to hit and you miss it and you foul it off and you go 1 and 2, and there's almost that sense of, now I'm in trouble. Now it becomes a real battle.
You can see Nix, after fouling that pitch off, just kind of shaking his head.
Well, he's had 2 to hit in this at bat. The first one and that last one, and he's missed them both.
Ooh, pretty good pitch there, and Nix gets caught looking, so Cecil goes back inside to pick up the strikeout. His 3rd of the game.
Well, a quality pitch, and again, it's what you talked about, Sam, the ability to dig deep. He got ahead in the count 1 and 2, and then the fastball in a perfect spot, and he gets a big strikeout. But have to stay focused. You've got this 3rd out that you have to record to get out of the inning.
And it's a tough one in Jason Donald, who since the 24th of June is hitting .300. He walked in his first plate appearance in the 3rd inning. And here he is with a chance to get the Indians on the board. One 0 pitch, misses low and away. Molina trying to coax Cecil through this bases loaded situation. And now he's in a whole lot of trouble behind 3-0. Bruce Walton has tried to preach Cecil staying back and working on that downward plane. But he's had trouble replicating his delivery in this game, and now in a perilous situation. 3-0 pitch in there for a strike.
If they had to feel like 3-0, you're going to get a cheap strike. Feel like the hitter Donald's probably taking all the way. But you got to do it again.
And it misses away, and Donald has drawn the bases loaded walk. Shin-Soo Choo touches, and the Cleveland Indians lead it 1-0.
And clearly the last pitch, the front shoulder flew open, and his arm couldn't catch up.
And the bases still remain loaded for Jimenez. First pitch swinging, and now there's action in that Blue Jays bullpen. Brian Talent starts to get loose. Pitch high from Cecil. He walks off the mound in disgust, and there's the long man in that Jays bullpen, Brian Talent. Is there ever any motivation when you start to see that behind you?
Well, you would think. I mean, no, there's no question that Brett Cecil does not want to come out of this ball game.
1-1 pitch hit on the ground. Encarnacion scoops it, and he will take it himself. Just ahead of Duncan, and the inning is over, but not before Cecil issues a bases loaded walk. Cleveland leads it 1-0. Conversation.
Looks as if he's talking about, you know, the mechanics, the arm angle, the slot. Boy, a veteran catcher can be invaluable when it comes to, helping a young pitcher or a young pitching staff, keeping them on an even keel, and just, a little gentle reminder of, hey, get back to what you were doing when you were having success in your last 4 starts. You've been on a good roll. No reason to change anything.
And really, still in a pretty good situation, as Vernon Wells leads it off for the Jays in the bottom of the 4th. Strikeout by Wells in the 2nd. Hitting .270 now with 20 home runs. On the ground to short. In to get it is Cabrera. 1 down. When you talk about Cecil Rance, he's thrown 79 pitches. He's left 5 runners aboard in this game, and still in a pretty good opportunity, down just 1-0, to come back and put himself in position to win it.
Well, that's what you have to remind yourself, is that, I've really struggled. It's not been an easy ball game for me. But here in the bottom of the 4th, it's just 1-0. We're still very much in this ball game. If I can just settle in and pitch a couple of shutout innings, may end up with a W.
And allow this offense that's been so potent a few more chances to try and at least tie it up or claim the lead. But it hasn't been easy against Josh Tomlin. The Blue Jays have just 1 hit. Tomlin making a surprise start here on 3 days rest, taking the place of Jake Westbrook, who earlier today was dealt away to the St. Louis Cardinals. More trade action for you. Ted Lilly finally has a new home. Him and Ryan Theriot will move to the West Coast to play for the Dodgers. Hard foul ball by Lind. Going back the Cubs way, Blake DeWitt and a couple of minor leaguers. So plenty of speculation there about where Lilly would wind up. Everyone thought that maybe Boston and New York, as they're always in the conversation, but it's the Dodgers who get him. Lind left field. Duncan a couple of steps in right at it.
Now at bat, number 2, Aaron Hill.
Well, it's frustrating when you've been struggling a little bit. You finally hit a ball hard, and it's right at somebody.
Aaron Hill, first pitch swing. This one will land in front of Duncan. So Hill's got himself a 2-out base hit. In case you're just joining us, this is the non-waiver trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. So really, free movement is allowed. After today, you'll have to pass through waivers in order to move to another team. To this point, the Blue Jays have not made any other deals. Mike Jacobs acquired in a minor league deal yesterday from the Mets. He will report to Las Vegas and play first base there. We saw Anthony Goes acquired in a 3-team deal from Houston by way of Philadelphia for Brett Wallace, who, by the way, gets the start at first for Houston in tonight's game. It'll be his major league debut. So 4 teams later, Wallace finally gets a shot. Overbay walked in his first plate appearance. Tomlin doing a nice job issuing just his first walk of the game, or second walk of the game.
I've never gone to that high.
Make that 2 hits and a walk given up by Tomlin to this point.
I need to research that.
Overbay, offside and out of play. Rance, you'll see Overbay on occasion, especially when he's going good. He'll just kind of tap that bat against the back shoulder. What's that?
Just a timing mechanism for him that he feels comfortable with. And if there would be a knock on Lyle Overbay, at times he doesn't get loaded up soon enough, but he's been having himself a pretty good month, hitting .304 here in the month of July, coming into the afternoon's ball game. And he had 3 hits last night. All 3 of them were hit right on the nose.
Are you serious? You don't even know how
0-2 pitch, and over base strikes out. So Aaron Hill's 2-out single is stranded at first. The Blue Jays continue to trail. Statistical information provided by StatsInc, and music provided by Universal Canada. From outside in the harbor we go, inside to the Rogers Center, where the Toronto Blue Jays trail the Cleveland Indians 1-0 as we move to the top of the 5th inning. Brett Cecil gave up a bases-loaded walk in the 4th, but then stranded 3 Indians, so he did minimize the damage, and he's back here working in the 5th with now 80 pitches. Trevor Crow has come in and filled the spot vacated by the injured Grady Sizemore. Gives Maniac a switch hitter at the top of his order, a guy with some good speed. Get on the ground to the right side, overbay to the backhand, and he'll take it himself. Asdrubal Cabrera went on the disabled list with a fractured left forearm on the 17th of May and came off the DL 2 weeks back on the 19th of July. A nice piece for Maniactu, who plays both middle infield positions. Good pitch inside, just misses. Cecil working quickly now. This one in the dirt. Molina gave it the old kick save.
It's almost like that'll be enough.
There we go. We'll reset it for you with Cabrera facing Cecil, has him way out in front.
And that's a pitch this afternoon, the changeup that Brett Cecil, it's either been outstanding or he's bounced it. And it hasn't been anywhere close, but hasn't been able to be consistent.
This one will stay inside the line. It'll bounce off that right field corner. Bautista with a chance. He's got a good arm. The throw. Cabrera is sliding in safely. One out double for Asdrubal Cabrera.
Well, with Bautista's arm, it's going to get interesting. Or it always is interesting when you see the play start to develop. Nice piece of hitting by Cabrera, driving a breaking ball just inside the line. And right here you begin to think that maybe you have a chance, but Cabrera with good hustle, probably even if the throw's right on the money, was going to be safe at second base. But nonetheless, it's fun to watch.
Well, everyone knows when you have that great arm, if you want to, you better be leaving right out of the box. And Cabrera was surely in that mode as he picks up his 8th double of the year.
And again, Molina encouraging Brett Cecil to just back off just a little bit. Don't force it. Don't press it. That was a much more fluid and free delivery. And it's always easier to add a little than it is to try to back off just a little bit and take something off.
The old less is more philosophy. Chew to left field. Fred Lewis is there. Two down for Carlos Santana. And, you know, just watching Cecil today, his last 3 starts in the month of June, he really struggled. He pitched a total of 15 2/3 innings in which he allowed 16 earned runs. And we're seeing some of the mechanical deficiencies in this game that we saw in that 3-game stretch.
Well, that's youth, oftentimes. And Brett Cecil, if you look at what he did prior to what you've just talked about in late June and then what he's done lately, he can be a little bit streaky. When he gets on a roll and he gets locked in, he can go 4 or 5 starts.
First pitch up in the air. Aaron Hill goes back and Santana is retired. And Cecil does a good job fighting the mechanics. He only trails by 1 as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Rogers Center, August 6th versus the Tampa Bay Rays at 7:07. Pre-game fan fest, patio party, player autograph session. Tickets can be had at 416-341-1234. Most Rogers Plus locations, or visit BlueJays.com. For Honda Fan Fridays, presented by the Fan 590. Bottom of the 5th, Josh Tomlin continues to work. Starting on 3 days rest. 65 pitches for the Cleveland starter. At 25 years of age, is making his 2nd ever big league start, 2nd ever big league appearance. And he has fared quite well to this point. Encarnacion pops it up. Shelley Duncan running in. He's been busy out there today and hauls it in.
The catcher, number 8, Jose Molina.
You have to wonder, Rance, that as a young guy who's looking to get back into routine, was he going to be a little rattled, or sometimes is it best to say, hey, you don't really have a lot of time to think about your start. Just get out there and go get him. Molina hit hard, left center field, going back at the track and gone. Home run, Jose Molina. A line shot that left in a hurry. 4th of the year for the Jays catcher, and we're knotted at 1.
And for the second time this afternoon, Molina hits the ball right on the nose. His first at bat, he singled hard into left field, and here another mistake. And he jumps all over it. And it did. Get out of here in a hurry.
Hits the facing of that first deck and bounces back into play as Lewis now to Laporta, who deals to Tomlin for the second out of the inning rather. But man, did Molina get a hold of that, and when it hit that facing, it found back into the field of play, and some were wondering in the park whether or not it was a home run, but it got out in a hurry, and indeed it did clear the fence.
Hey, to go back to the question that you asked, you would have to think that Tomlin was probably told last night that make sure that mentally you are prepared to start on Saturday afternoon in the event that Westbrook is traded. So this is not, I don't think this was a situation here today to where he shows up expecting that he's going to start on Sunday. You know, like a situation where maybe you have an injury, something of that nature, and it's all of a sudden you get thrown into the fire. I'm sure he was probably told, just prepare as if you're going to pitch on Saturday.
And here he is doing a fine job, locked in a 1-1 tie, and just his 3rd hit of the game, Molina takes him deep.
And you'd have to say he's not intimidated by the major leagues. I mean, in his first outing, he beat the Yankees and pitched very, very well, and he's been very good here this afternoon. He has excellent composure and demeanor on the mound. He's not overpowering that fastball at 90 or 91, but he's done a very good job with it to both sides of the plate. He's been aggressive.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. And Gary Cedarstrom calls a foul tick off the bat of Escobar, and he is retired on strikes. So Jose Molina ties it up through 5.
Both have went 5. Tomlin give up 3 hits, Cecil 4. The Jays' lone run coming on the home run by Molina. Brett Cecil, of course, with the bases loaded, walked in. The only run that the Indians have scored this afternoon.
Matt Laporta leads it off for Cleveland, top of the 6th inning. Cleveland 1 run on 4 hits with an error. They've stranded 6. The Blue Jays 1 run on 3 hits. They have not committed an error and left 4 on. Laporta right back to his fouling ways. Had a 10-pitch at bat his last time through before lining out softly to short. That was in the 4th inning. Cecil's got him down 0-2 and goes inside to Laporta, way inside. And again goes inside. Alan Porter, the first base umpire, says no, Laporta did not go.
And where was the pitch? It looked like it was pretty good. Gary Cederstrom had the ball maybe up a little bit.
This one doesn't miss. They go inside twice and outside the 3rd time. Laporta caught looking one down.
Left fielder, 47, Shelley.
Well, he really had a nice pitch sequence to Matt Laporta in that at bat. All of them exactly where he wanted them.
Shelley Duncan's had a tidy afternoon. He's been busy out there in left field with 3 putouts. And at the plate, got a hit to left and a walk. Cecil seemingly settling in. But the issue he has now is up around that 100 pitch mark. Hit hard to right field. Jose Bautista back. And it will hit the base of the wall. It'll bounce awkwardly away from Bautista, and Duncan has a double.
Well, Bautista clearly, by his reaction, knew he wasn't going to be able to get to the ball. And then it looked as if he thought for a moment it might leave the ballpark. And it hit a funny angle there out there off the wall and kicked away from him. But Duncan, of course, not fleet of foot. No threat to go all the way to third base with a triple. But his second hit here this afternoon.
Just a little stanchion between the fences there to allow the Cleveland pitchers to look through from that bullpen. And when it hit awkwardly off the side of one of those stanchions, it forced the ball away from Bautista and allowed Duncan an easy double. 0-1 inside to Nix. Nix struck out with the bases loaded in the 4th. And hit into a 1-6-4 inning ending double play in the 2nd. And so it's been a tough afternoon so far for the Cleveland third baseman. Cito Gaston really likes to get his pitchers through the inning to give them the opportunity to win, especially here at home. Will Cecil seize that opportunity? This might help out. Get in the air to center where Escobar corrals it, and they're 2 down. Ryan Talbot the lefty, Jason Fraser the righty. And so with all that talk about Fraser possibly being moved, no signs of movement to this point as he continues to get loose. We are less than an hour and a half away from the 4 p.m. Major League Baseball non-waiver trade deadline. Jason Donald looks at ball one. To this point, the Blue Jays have not made any deals. Scott Downs there behind Fraser, comfortably in his seat along with Kevin Gregg. So they're looking pretty comfortable there in that Jays bullpen.
Well, of course, nothing to be read into that. Scott Downs oftentimes will pitch that 8th inning to set Gregg up for the 9th. So it's a little bit early, probably, for Scott Downs to be up and throwing. Most certainly for Kevin Gregg.
.106 pitches now thrown by Brett Cecil. Duncan's double is on at second. There are 2 out in the inning. And Jason Donald, who has walked twice, now finds himself in a 2-2 count. The deuces are wild. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out.
Yeah, if Cecil can retire Donald and go to the bottom of the 6th in a tie ball game, you never know. You have 3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Jays. And as you mentioned, Sam, Cito Gaston, if it's any way he can, would like to give Cecil the chance to complete this inning and get one more shot in the bottom of the 6th if the Jays could take a lead to maybe have the chance to get a win.
And you got to like your chances, as Bautista will lead it off, followed by Wells in the bottom half of the 6th. 2-2 pitch on its way inside to Donald, and now the count is full. Laboring to get through the inning. Shelley Duncan's doubles on at second. Jason Donald's drawn 2 walks and now finds himself in a 3-2 count, and he draws his 3rd walk of the afternoon.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
Jimenez steps in with runners on at first and second. Cecil deals. First pitch strike. Grant, what kind of quandary in? You have a young pitcher at 111 pitches, yet you want to get him through the inning. What's going through Cito Gaston's mind here?
You have a young hitter at the plate in Jimenez. And you feel like Cecil should be able to get him out. If he doesn't retire the hitter at the plate, then it's going to really get interesting, because Crow's coming up. You have righty lefty up ready in the bullpen, but Crow from the right side hits just 197. You turn him around to the left side, and he's much improvement at 286.
Good pitch there, just a little low. So Molina wants to go out and help coax Cecil through this 6th inning.
So Trevor Crow, you have to believe, or you'd have to think, that he's either going to face the left-hander Cecil or the left-hander out of the bullpen.
It's Talent who's ready.
So I guess the short of it is, if he doesn't get Jimenez out, I think there's a chance that he might get to face Trevor Crow. But we'll see.
1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Cecil works out of it. Strands 2 more. And no decision is the worst he can do. We're tied at 1. MVP. Jose Bautista has 31 to this point and projected to break that record by your old buddy.
Still has a long way to go. And still has to, there's 2 months left in the season. But you really have to stay on a consistent pace to surpass those 47 hit by George Bell.
One of the all-time characters in franchise history. And someone who has helped mentor Jose Bautista. Riding an 8-game hit streak, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Josh Tomlin continues to work here for the Cleveland Indians and has done a marvelous job on short rest. So the Cleveland Indians here, once Westbrook was dealt away, are essentially down to 3 starters. Fausto Carmona and Justin Masterson. And so a starter will need to be announced tomorrow. It's expected Genmar Gomez will get that start, but there are still some options for Manny Acta. In the meantime, Bautista 3-0 count. Up and in, and so the Major League's home run leader draws a leadoff walk in the bottom of the 6th. And that brings Vernon Wells to the plate. Let's have a look at the power duos in Major League Baseball.
Well, between Bautista and Wells, 51 home runs, followed by Fielder and Hart. Milwaukee with 46, so they lead the major leagues. 3 and 4 hitters in this Jays lineup.
First pitch to Wells is a strike.
You're looking at a situation where I don't think it'd be a stretch to say you could end up fairly easily with 70 plus home runs between Bautista and Wells.
Wells fouls it back right into the booth next to us. Bautista 4 steals at first. Not likely to be on the move. Pitch to Wells. And foul down the left field side. Blue Jays this year hitting home runs at a record pace for the franchise. Projected to hit 247. And that would narrowly beat the 2000 team. Featured Tony Batista, Cruz Jr., Carlos Delgado. Pitch way up from Tomlin.
That 2000 team could swing it.
Oh, yeah.
They had some guys that could hit. They had hit the ball out of the ballpark.
4 guys with 20 or more home runs before the All-Star break. And that has been the hallmark of this Blue Jays offense this year, the long ball. Wells left field. This one will bounce in front of Shelley Duncan. Bautista with a good hard turn. Now puts on the brakes. Back to second. The tag's applied, and out at second base is Bautista. So he forced a throw, but got a little too chancy. And is thrown out going back to the bag.
Well, just a little bit too aggressive. He had thoughts, Bautista did, about trying to advance to third, but he got a little overextended too far around the bag at second base. And a nice play by the shortstop Cabrera in recognizing, turning, quick snap throw right on the money. And the tag applied by Donald. Here you'll get a look at it from a different angle. You can see right here he really had thoughts about going, shuts it down, and it is unable to retreat and get back. Well, that could be a huge play in this ballgame.
Bautista being retired, the Tribe goes to the pen. Will just recalled yesterday, 2-2 on the season with an ERA just over 4. This is his 4th stint with the Tribe this year. The one luxury Cleveland does have is its affiliates are very close by. AA is in Akron, AAA is in Columbus. They have an A-ball team in Ohio as well, and so that allows for easy player movement, and that has been a situation that's been taken advantage of all season long by Mark Shapiro. Line shot to Lynn. Laporta catches it, and Wells is doubled off. So Lewis comes in to get the job done. Through 6 complete, we're tied at 1 at the Rogers Center. Nice big green comfy seats here this afternoon. Former Toronto Maple Leafs goaltender Curtis Joseph and friends. Huge baseball fan. We're getting the opportunity to sit in the good seats here this afternoon. Brian Talbot comes in relief of Brett Cecil.
Brian Talbot on the season at 6.27 ERA and 17 ball games. He'll probably just be here in this to work this 7th inning. You have Trevor Crow, who from the switch hitting, Trevor Crow, but from the right side hits just 197, from the left side 286, and of course followed by Cabrera, who's a switch hitter, and then Chu, who swings from the left side. So Talbot in here to get the Jays into the bottom half of this inning.
And they'll have to do it through the top of the order. Crow is 0 for 3. Talbot deals and misses. Been a bit of a rocky road for Talbot this year, who started the season in the rotation and then started to experience some left forearm issues. Went on the DL, came back, made a start, and then was moved to the bullpen. Cito Gaston cannot praise Talbot enough for his work in several different roles. And at times when the bullpen has been taxed, Talbot has volunteered his services, maybe above and beyond his fatigue level, just to give the rest of the guys he works with on a daily basis an opportunity to rest. 1-2 to Crow. Hit on the ground to the right side. Overbay will take a step back. Talbot covering, 1 down. Well, Brett Cecil fights his way through 6 innings.
And that's basically what he did. He wasn't real sharp here this afternoon. That's indicated by the 5 walks. He did strike out 5, and the only run that he gave up, a bases loaded walk to Donald, which forced in the only run that the Indians have scored here this afternoon. But you have to tip your hat to him. A young pitcher, didn't have it today, wasn't real sharp, but he figured out a way to get through it, give you 6 innings, and keep you in the ball game.
So no decision here for Brett Cecil, and a great learning experience that even when you're not at your best, you can still compete. One for three is Asdrubal Cabrera. He doubled and was stranded in the fifth. The Indians in a stretch, facing American League competition, American League East competition. We saw the Yankees before this series, and then head out to Boston for 4 games upon completion of this series tomorrow afternoon. .30 pitch. Called a strike by Gary Cederstrom. The Indians took a 1-0 lead on a bases loaded walk to Jason Donald in the 4th. The Blue Jays responded with Jose Molina's 4th of the year. That in the bottom of the 5th inning, and that's where we stand now with 1 out and a runner on first. Major League Baseball non-waiver trade deadline continues at 4 p.m. Eastern. It will come to a close, and to this point, Bautista, Downs, Buck, Overbay, and everybody else all remain intact. Shin-Soo Choo came into this game hitting .349 against Blue Jays pitching. He's 0 for 3, however, in this game, or 1 for 3 rather. He scored the lone run. How it works. Choo chops it to the left side. Fred Lewis won't get this one. It'll drop in for a base hit. Good speed by Cabrera. Now Cabrera's getting the wave home. Escobar with the play. He decides to throw it, but it's too late. Great hustle by Asdrubal Cabrera as Shin-Soo Choo brings in the run.
A little bit of a funny play down the left field line. The ball bounced up against the wall, came up. Here we'll get a look at it. The ball bounces, and then it hits the wall. And right here, Fred Lewis corrals it. But as you mentioned, Sam, great hustle by Cabrera to never give up on the play, and a nice call by the third base coach, Steve Smith. You could hear him say, keep going, and the Indians now have the lead in this ball game.
So Choo given a double on the play as Cabrera breaks the tie. It's a 2-1 Indians lead. Santana, left field. Fred Lewis over. And Choo will retreat back to second. 2 down, a very interesting play, but of note on that Choo double, the ball never left the field of play. And with that bounce off the top of the wall and the bobble, Cabrera never once hesitated. Cito Gaston comes out with Matt Laporta, the ever dangerous Matt Laporta. So Cito will make the call. Towers will come out of this game. And the Blue Jays will turn to Jason Fraser facing Matt Laporta when we return. partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. So Jason Fraser comes in with 2 out to try and retire Matt Laporta.
Frazier appearing in his 45th game here this afternoon. 39 innings of work, 41 strikeout. Good fastball, can touch 94, 95. Hard slider and at times a very good split finger fastball.
Misses away on the first pitch to Matt Laporta. 5 home runs, 23 driven in. So a good sign for Fraser getting into this game so close to the trade deadline. His wife Laura from the city of Toronto. They just had their first child not too long ago. Said he would understand if the Blue Jays moved him. He knows that there's the business side of the game, but would like to remain here in Toronto. He's got Laporta in a 1-2 hole. This is just away. Takes a look at Chu at second. Laporta to the right side. Lyle Overbay giving chase, and in foul territory makes the catch. So Jason Fraser comes on to do the job, but not before the Indians take a 2-1 lead. The Blue Jays trail the Indians by a 2-1 count. Offense has been tough to come by. Josh Tomlin makes a surprise start on 3 days rest after the trade of Jake Westbrook. Holds the Blue Jays to just 1 run before giving way to Jensen Lewis. And he faces Aaron Hill here to start the bottom of the 7th. Four times up and down this year for Lewis. Fouled straight back. Joe Smith getting loose for Maniacta in that Indians bullpen as they move towards the back end of it. 9 pitchers in that Tribe bullpen. Center field, Trevor Crow, Shin-Soo Choo, and it's Crow who waves them all off.
First baseman, number 35, Lyle Overbay.
Well under an hour now until the trade deadline passes. Lyle Overbay, rumored heavily to be on the move somewhere. To this point, it hasn't happened. In my interview with him after the game yesterday, very happy, very comfortable here in Toronto. Overbay will become a free agent at the end of the year. And said if things work out on both sides, he wouldn't mind coming back at all. That door's been kicked open slightly in that Brett Wallace has been dealt to Houston. Supposedly the Blue Jays' first baseman of the future.
Well, Lyle Overbay's been here long enough now to realize, you know, this is a great place to play here in Toronto.
And one pitch misses up and away.
You know, oftentimes players think on the front end that they're not real happy about coming up here, but once you get here and get a chance to get familiar with the city, the fans, you begin to realize that this is a great place to play.
Good clean city where you're not overrun by celebrity status as you might be in a Boston or a New York or maybe even in LA for that matter. The organization treats its players well. The team travels well. Clubhouse is nice. Overbay pops it up into the photo dugout right beside the Blue Jays dugout.
And things have changed here over the last, basically year. There's been some, obviously it started with the change of the general manager and the ball club. The entire organization has really changed directions, and the atmosphere has changed. It's become much more of a positive atmosphere. Everybody's enthused and encouraged by the direction that the organization is going.
Blue Jays deem it a building and not a rebuilding. Pitch inside to Overbay. So there are definitely some pieces here for the long term in Vernon Wells, Adam Lind, Aaron Hill.
And I don't think it's a stretch to say that this ball club could possibly be within 2 years of being back in contention and a chance to win the division and get to the postseason.
Escobar hoping to play a big part of that future, as is Ricky Romero. Anchoring a strong, youthful, and inexperienced Jays starting staff. Good job by Lyle Overbay. Fouls off a couple of Jensen Lewis pitches and eventually draws the walk.
Third baseman, number 12, Edwin Encarnacion.
Maniacta on his way out. And it looks as if Jensen Lewis's afternoon is over. The Tribe go to the pen once again, this time for Joe Smith.
Rays this afternoon. The play of the game so far has been this solo home run off the bat of Jose Molina, which tied the ball game up at 1-1.
Visit BlueJays.com, Burger King, to register for a chance to win prizes with the Burger King Super Fan Contest. That's BlueJays.com/Burger King. Fred Lewis with Lyle Overband first to face the side armor, Joe Smith. ERA up over 6. Had a nice 14 appearance scoreless run come to an end on Thursday against the Yanks. Overbay takes his lead. Encarnacion reaching and fouling it off. Couple of flyouts to left field for Encarnacion. Pitch in the dirt. Jimenez does a nice job to keep it in front of him. The Blue Jays hoping to extend their win streak to 5 games. Still looking for some revenge in a series in Cleveland that started on the 28th of June. And in that 4-game set, Cleveland took them all. The Blue Jays did not hit a home run at all in that series. Scored just 7 runs the entire series. Well, they surpassed that total with an 8-1 win last night. They've added 1 more here today, but trail at 2-1.
Now Smith with that sidearm or submarine delivery. Very tough on right-handed hitters. They try to make him elevate the ball, get it up just a little bit. And really focus on trying to stay in the middle of the field.
Encarnacion on the ground, and it's bobbled by Nix, and everyone is safe.
And if you try to pull the sinker ball pitcher, especially that submarine pitcher, you're going to see a lot of this, a lot of ground balls. This is a tailor-made double play. The last hop comes up a little bit, but that's a play you have to make. Yeah, this is a very routine, easy play. You get a little bit lazy. You think you have it corralled. It's going to be an easy play. And at the last moment, the ball comes up just a little bit. You can't make the adjustment.
So the tough afternoon for Nix continues. He's charged with his 7th error of the season. And that has given Blue Jays some life here in the 7th. Smith deals to Molina. Misses away.
Yeah, sometimes as an infielder, when it's an easy play, before the ball gets to the glove, you're already thinking about making that throw to second base, and you don't feel the ball cleanly.
Do you think Molina, with that open stance or start to a stance, has a better look at Smith?
Well, it might help him out a little bit, but again, the key is here, especially now with the count 2-0, is think about make the ball be at the belt. If it's not at the belt, if it's not that high, I'm not swinging at it. If it's down, I'm going to let it go. And he was taking all the way there in that situation, 2-0.
Cito Gaston looks on as Blue Jays entered this game 5 games over the 500 mark. 27-20 here at the Rogers Center.
But still maintain the same approach, 2-1, because you're ahead in the count.
Hit on the ground, right back to Smith. Smith to second. Donald steps across, and the double play is completed. So the Blue Jays threatened, but an inning-ending double play gets Smith out of the inning. offers and quality vehicles, summer's a great time to buy a Toyota. Welcome back to the Rogers Center. Sam Cosentino and Rance Molina along with you on this Saturday afternoon. Blue Jays trail the Indians 2-1 on this first of two Major League Baseball trade deadlines. The non-waiver deadline means that you don't have to pass through waivers in order to move from team to team. And after 4 p.m. today, that will all change. And teams in the lower end of the standings will have a chance to claim players off waivers, although several deals are still made after today's deadline. They're just a little harder to make.
Well, at that point, you have to get a player through waivers. You have to clear waivers to make the deal. And that can be very difficult, depending, of course, on who the player is. You start talking about a Bautista in right field, somebody's going to block a deal because they're going to claim him just because they don't want him maybe to go to somebody in their own division that they're competing against.
All safe and sound so far with the Blue Jays on that front. 36 minutes remain until the deadline passes. A lot of hot rumors out there, but to this point for the Blue Jays, that's all they've been.
You know, oftentimes a team will put a player on waivers for no other reason than to just find out who's interested, maybe how much interest there is. You know, if you put a guy on waivers and you have 3 or 4 teams claim him, then you know that there's some interest because you can always pull him back off.
Or in some cases, you want to move the player.
And sometimes you want somebody to claim him, and you're going to let him go ahead and move on.
Alex Rios, an example of that last year. In 1998, it was Greg Myers.
What was really surprising about the Alex Rios deal was the fact that, you know, with his contract and the type of year he was having at the time, to put him on waivers, I was very surprised when anybody claimed him. Of course, we now know the White Sox did. The Jays let him go, and he's having a tremendous season for the White Sox.
2-2 pitch. Duncan tries to check his swing, but he can't do it. So Fraser picks up the strikeout. One down here in the top of the 8th. And when you played, Rance, you know, there are a lot of guys that say, we don't pay attention to it. It's business is business. But when you get to trade deadline time, it has to be in the back of your head, doesn't it?
Well, if you're one of the names that's floating around, it does. But what you have to realize as a player is just you have to take the approach that it's a situation that you cannot control. So don't worry about it. Just keep playing.
Nick's first pitch swinging, line drive to left.
Nice piece of hitting by Nix. Gets a slider. It's up just a little bit. Stays on it. Drives it hard into left field. Pretty good job of hitting. Wasn't in the spot exactly where Frazier wanted it, but not a bad pitch.
One down for Jason Donald. First pitch hacked to the right side. It's Hill who will call off Lyle Overbay. Get twisted around a little bit, Overbay. So Hill picked him up.
And of course, Overbay holding the runner at first base. It's a little bit more difficult with that ball back over your head. But Aaron Hill ran him off of it, took control, no problem. But there's only 2 ways really that you have some control of your destination if you're in the trade discussion and there's a possible trade. That is, if you have in your contract a no trade clause, or you're 5-10. 10 years of Major League service, the last 5 years consecutively with the ball club that you're currently with, and then you have the opportunity then to say, no, I don't accept the trade. I don't want to go to, as an example, if you're playing here in Toronto, they want to trade you to, maybe Texas, and you don't want to go, then you can say no.
Scott Downs now gets up for the Blue Jays. So if you're a Scott Downs fan, that's got to be a pretty good sign. Still 32 minutes to the non-waiver trade deadline. But he is probably, of all the Blue Jays, the guy who's been most talked about to move. He's got great versatility, gets right-handers out, has pitched in the American League East, so familiar with high-level competition. He's a veteran. He can give you more than one inning if you need it. And so for all those reasons, and just about every team in contention is looking for bullpen help. You really can't have enough of it. Oh, 2 to Jimenez. Cleveland up 2-1.
No, that's an excellent point, Sam, because down the stretch, you're going to have to win some tough ball games, and oftentimes that bullpen's going to determine the outcome.
Fraser deals. Jimenez fouls it off. The Yankees are said to have not done dealing, and one of the hot rumors out there now is Kerry Wood moving to give Joe Girardi some bullpen help. Wood was activated off the disabled list just today.
So the Yankees need some bullpen help.
Alfredo Aceves remains on the DL. He was a stalwart last year, winning 10 games out of the pen for New York last year, but doesn't seem to be close to returning anytime soon.
And Jabba Chamberlain has not been effective at all.
On his way is Nix. The throw down from Molina. The tag is applied and not in time, but it won't matter because Jimenez strikes out. And so the Blue Jays come to bat in the bottom of the 8th, looking for at least one to tie.
Hey fans, get tickets for any of these upcoming series.
On Rogers Sportsnet against the Indians tomorrow afternoon. Coverage beginning at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Jesse Lynch will go against the TBA, but some are suspecting it'll be Genmar Gomez, who made a start earlier this month. We know that Lynch for sure will be going for the Blue Jays.
The old to be announced.
Back to the top of the order in the bottom of the 8th inning. Fred Lewis 0 for 3. Andy Marte has come in defensively to replace Jason Nix. When last we saw Marte, he was on the hill a couple of nights ago against the New York Yankees. Completely out of gas was that Indians bullpen, so Marte came in to pitch the 9th. He ended up striking out Nick Swisher in that game. Went 1-2-3 in the inning. And did admit yesterday to Maniacta that he was a little sore. He had a good sinker working on that afternoon, or that evening rather.
And after the strikeout, Swisher just gathered up all of its bats and said, that's it.
I'm going home.
I'm taking it to the clubhouse.
Lewis, left field. Duncan started in, now goes back, diving catch, and comes up with it. He made it harder than it should have been, but still records the out.
Well, the second time this afternoon, Duncan, with not a good read initially, but able to recover once again. I think the ball fooled him a little bit. It traveled and went a little bit farther than he thought it was going to off the bat. Right here, he kind of breaks towards the line and then realizes, uh-oh. But able again to time his layout perfectly and make the catch.
His fourth put out of the game to go along with an all-important assist. In that sixth inning, Jose Bautista rounded second a little too hard. Duncan got it in to the shortstop Cabrera, who completed the play to Jason Donald. And that really stemmed the tide for the Blue Jays, because Bautista had let it off with a walk. Then on that Wells single is when that play occurs, and then a double play to Lind after that, and immediately out of the inning were the Indians. Escobar shows bunt and bunts through it.
That is a good idea by Escobar. The third baseman, Marte, was playing well back and very deep. And that's a ball, if he gets it down that third base line in a position where the pitcher has no chance to make a play on it, he'd have himself a base hit.
What an addition Escobar has been to this Blue Jays lineup. Alex Gonzalez played his heart out here for the Blue Jays, but Escobar fell out of favor in Atlanta. And so the two made the shortstop swap. Smith corrals it, sets and throws, and there are two down. 31 home runs to lead all major leaguers, and the Blue Jays trail by one, with Jose Bautista coming to the plate here in the bottom of the eighth.
There you got to look at the AL home run leaders. Of course, Bautista well out in front. 6 more than Cabrera and Canerco.
In Major League terms, only Joey Votto ahead of that group with 27. So Bautista definitely has the ability to change the complexion of this game with one swing.
You know, you'd almost, it's probably 50-50. You'd almost feel like if Bautista's very, very selective and patient in this at bat, probably a pretty good chance he'd end up with a walk.
Hit hard on the ground. Marte in for defensive replacement. Goes to the shortstop Cabrera, who throws him out. It was hit so hard that Cabrera was still timed to throw out Bautista, and the inning is over.
I'm surprised that Bautista got anything to hit, and this ball was hit like a bullet. But it ricochets right to the third shortstop, who's able to record the out.
it's Scott Downs, the most rumored of any Blue Jay to be on the move in this game. So he relieves Jason Fraser, just trying to keep this Indians offense at bay and keep it to a 1-run deficit.
And Scott Downs, very effective out of the bullpen this year for the Blue Jays. 2.34 ERA, just 33 hits given up in 42 1/3 innings of work. They go along with 10 strikeouts.
First hitter he faces is Trevor Crowe in the top of this Indians lineup. Crowe 0 for 4 so far. .259 on the season, and he comes out swinging. The Blue Jays will complete this mini homestand here tomorrow with the final game of this series, and immediately after the game will make their way to New York to take on the Yankees. Downs delivers the 0-2 inside to Crowe. Cleveland continues to cling to that 1-run lead. Sliced on the ground. Aaron Hill with a few steps in. Crowe's got speed, but Hill has time. 1 out.
Shortstop, number 13, Asdrubal Cabrera.
Cabrera in his last at bat, he's really factored into the ball game. Walked and ended up scoring on that double by Chu down the left field line, which rattled up against the wall. Freddie Lewis had a little trouble corralling it. And because of some great hustle and never giving up on the play, Cabrera able to come all the way around from first base and score.
Setting a fine example for the rest of this young Cleveland team. Cabrera shows bunt and fouls it off.
You know, it's only natural sometimes as a hitter when you're trying to get the bunt down, you try to make it a little too fine because that's what you're conditioned to do. You know, it's either a base hit or it's foul down that third baseline. But when the third baseman's playing way back and is very deep, you know, just think more in terms of I kind of want to make a little bit of solid contact and just get the ball down on the ground and firm enough that the pitcher can't make a play on it. Just bunt it firm enough that I make sure I get it past him and I have myself a base hit and not try to make that perfect bunt.
No longer an option now for Cabrera behind 0-2. Good look at Encarnacion playing well back. Hit hard by Cabrera. Vernon Wells over and chases it down.
Nice play by Wells. He had a very good jump, had a very good route to the baseball. Well, he can still play center field. He had outstanding running over the shoulder catch in last night's ball game.
And delivers some good help to Scott Downs. 2 down for Shin-Soo Choo. Choo has also been effective in this game on the offensive side. 2 for 4, runs scored, RBI.
Both those hits coming against left-handed pitching this afternoon. Coming into the ball game versus left-handed pitching. Chu on the season hitting .271. So pretty good against left-handed pitching.
Hit softly on the ground. It gets by Downs. Hill with the bare hand and a good play to get Chu. So Scott Downs comes in. He relies on the defense, especially Aaron Hill. Great running one-handed play. The Blue Jays trail by 1. The bottom of the 9th inning, Toronto trails it 2-1. And the closer, Chris Perez, comes in.
And they'll have to do it against the hard-throwing Chris Perez. 13 save opportunities, has converted 10 of them. You can see the opponent's just 199 against him. Perez with an outstanding fastball with good life, 92-98. He has an outstanding slider, which he will use to finish off right-handers. But below average command.
Vernon Wells, first pitch, line shot up the middle. And interesting to note, Kerry Wood activated off the disabled list today for Cleveland, but plenty of rumors surrounding a potential trade. So Perez is in, and Vernon Wells welcomes him to the game.
With a line drive right back past him. Looked like Perez had a thought about trying to knock that ball down with his bare hand, but thought better of it.
Adam Lind. He knows Perez well. A 2-run shot in the top of the 9th inning on Wednesday, May 5th. Helped vault the Blue Jays to a 5-4 win. One of 2 blown saves. And he hits Lind. He comes inside and he hits him. And Lind in some serious difficulty.
Well, if that ball caught him around the knee, that's a pretty tender spot.
He's going to come out of this game regardless. And so whether by injury or by pinch running, it's Dwayne Wise who will come in off the bench.
Probably not a result of getting hit. Looks like he's going to be fine, but most certainly Wise would have been pinch running in this situation.
Omar Malave with his hands on Wise's shoulder just to alert him of the situation.
Well, this is interesting here now. Do you ask Aaron Hill to bunt the runners along? There's a look at the replay. See where it hit him, just above that right knee. There's a better angle. Do you ask Aaron Hill to bunt the runners along or give him an opportunity to swing away?
Perez sets. Hill shows bunt. Squares, gets it down right back to the mound. Perez, now the catcher Jimenez will take it and throw down, but Hill gets the job done.
A textbook by Aaron Hill. Perfect bunt. The only play for Jimenez was to first base. Great job to just deaden this right out in front of the plate. Nice play by the catcher to run the pitcher off of it and record the out. Now you have to believe they got to walk over Bay to set up a potential game-ending double play.
And that's the situation indeed. Edwin Encarnacion on deck.
And if you're Vernon Wells off of third base, don't give up. Don't take it for granted. Be alert. You never know. Something might get away from Perez.
Well, Cito Gaston does have a couple of options on the bench, although no one's really been swinging the bat better than Encarnacion here the last month. But you have Snyder, a lefty, with 6 home runs, but he hasn't had a big lead at bat in some time. You have John Buck with 14 home runs. But you have Encarnacion, who's been swinging as hot a bat as any Blue Jay, except for maybe Jose Bautista all month long.
Well, you got a big bat in the lineup that's been on a roll. You got to leave him in there and give him a chance to tie the ball game up or possibly win it for you.
He does possess extra base power.
And it's important to remember that really the Jays on their bench don't have anybody that's what you would call a prototype pinch hitter, a guy that's very comfortable in that situation, a guy with a lot of experience in this situation, pinch hitting. So if you've got a guy that's been swinging it pretty good, even though the percentages maybe state that you use somebody from the left side, you go ahead and let Encarnacion swing the bat. And there you look at his career with the bases loaded. Awfully good.
Perez deals, and he deals a strike to Encarnacion.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing when you aren't comfortable and don't have a lot of experience and don't know how to prepare for a pinch hit situation to come off the bench and be effective and have a quality at bat.
Encarnacion reaches, and now he's in an 0-2 hole.
I would think if Cito Gaston's going to pinch hit and use Snyder in the ball game, if the opportunity presents itself, it would possibly be for Molina,
who's already homered in this game and waits on deck. Encarnacion, big swing, and able to get a piece of it.
Oh, and he got a hanging slider, and it didn't fool him. He was dead on it. He just missed it. And if you're Chris Perez, you breathe a sigh of relief. You got away with a mistake. You got to make sure when you're ahead in the count that pitch is off the plate. Either that or you come back hard in on the hands now. Looks like you're probably going to stay away with that breaking ball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Rance, you called it. Molina will give way to Travis Snyder. The Blue Jays down to their final out. Travis Snyder appeared as a pinch runner in yesterday's game. And so the fans welcome him to the game. His last game, the 14th of May. It has been some time since he has seen big league action. but he's got a chance to make a difference here. Facing Chris Perez.
And a good idea if you're pinch hitting, especially against a hard thrower like Perez. You get a fastball for a strike. Get on it.
The bases are loaded. The Blue Jays trail by 1, down to their final out. And Snyder has worked the count 2-0.
Now, you factor in that Perez can be a little wild. Maybe here, 2-0, you take a pitch, because you're going to probably get the same thing 2-1 as you do 2-0.
2-0, and Snyder wasn't taking there. He was trying to end this game. Perez sets. Deal. Snyder swing and a miss. So now the Jays are down to their final strike. The bench looking on at Travis Snyder, who has the bases loaded. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul back out of play. A long time coming for Snyder. A wrist injury thought not to be very serious in the early part of May. Finally disabled in the middle of the month. And this is his first at bat back. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Chris Perez comes in. He gets into a scary situation, but strikes out Encarnacion and the pinch hitter Snyder, as the Indians take game 2 of this series by a 2-1 count.
Well, after falling behind 2-0, it was 4 straight challenge fastballs to Snyder from Chris Perez, and he finally finishes him off with a fastball at about 96 or 97 miles an hour. That man right there, Duncan, a couple of outstanding defensive plays that factored into this afternoon's ball game, and a good win for the Cleveland Indians.
We're just 5 minutes away from the non-waiver trade deadline passing. No Blue Jays have moved to this point, but if it does happen, you'll get all the news and information at Sportsnet Connect.